Good afternoon, Year 3 and 4. This is your Learning Journey lesson, Wednesday the 27th of January, PM lesson. So if you're sitting here thinking, oh, I haven't done the AM lesson, don't worry. Pause the video now and go back and do the first section. So in order to be good explorers, we really need to be thinking, how can I challenge myself this afternoon? How can you show myself and the other teachers that you are really using your determination? So here's a recap of the AM section that I created. So remember, can we challenge ourselves? Can we improve from Monday? I was looking at creating description. So I put, tiredly, the baboon rubbed his eyes and started to get ready for his day. Without much care, the baboon quickly brushed his teeth and burped. What a gross sound it made. So I've tried to include a different type of sentence here where I've got an exclamation, but there's not much description in this section, so I challenged myself to include some adjectives in this one. After heading downstairs, the baboon made himself a refreshing warm cup of tea and slowly enjoyed his delicious bowl of cereal. So I've challenged myself there to include more description, not only from my AM to PM lesson, but halfway through, when I'd done my first one in the AM lesson, I stopped, I reread my work, and I thought, I'm going to challenge myself with the second section, and you can do the same. So let's recap our challenges. I can use fronted adverbials with commas. Do you need to challenge yourself to do that this afternoon? Look back through your AM work. Have you forgotten to use your commas? Or do you now need to make it even better for a narrative and use adjectives to give more description? Or do you need to focus firstly on punctuating your sentences properly? Then, if you've included all three of these things, then this line here is for a chance for you to think about your own challenge that you set yourself on Monday. Are you beating it? Are you showing determination to beat that? So let's have a look at the second section then. This is today's work. We are having a look at where the baboon comes out and he starts to go and fill up the fuel. So here we go, the next section of Baboon on the Moon. So look at how he's walking. Think about a manner adverbial for this one. There we go. So let's have a look at the PM lesson then. We've got the baboon here, and let's think about where he's just come from. Think of a time adverbial. You could talk about when he's come out of the house. What has he just done? So you could say something like, after having his breakfast, comma, the baboon grabbed his brown leather briefcase and headed out the door. So here's my attempt. After having finished his breakfast, the baboon grabbed his leather briefcase and headed out the door. But that wasn't just all that we had. Remember when the video was playing, I was saying that the baboon was walking towards his workplace. But how was he doing it? So if you're looking for a challenge and you're looking to link your bits of narrative together really nicely, then you need to also talk about the baboon walking to his work. Then we have the next section where the baboon is filling up the station. So don't forget, I will leave this here on the video where you can choose some of the things that you might use for a fronted adverbial to help you today. So you might say, afterwards, he started to fill up the fuel until it was full. You could say, slowly the baboon filled up the tank until it was full. So 3 things to focus on today so that you've got a full narrative of this section of video. You need to ensure that you're talking about him grabbing his briefcase. You may use a different word for grabbing. about him walking to the station and then also filling it up. So you might have, like I've got here, one sentence in the first box. And then you might want to do these 2 sentences in the last box. Now, remember, you don't have to use the worksheet that I've attached. You can do it in your book. And if you've collected a learning journey, then it would be great to see your work in your learning journey. Now, let's start thinking about linking thinking. So how confident are you now? Remember, children, I had put myself at just below 1 last time because I was confident in using adverbials, but I needed more detail. So now I need to say why I've put myself up at 2. So I've put myself at 2 because actually this time I've persevered and managed to get in more description in my writing. So that's why I'm kind of halfway to being really confident. So I'm not there yet, but that's fine. I've still challenged myself. What could you do next lesson to improve? Next lesson, I'm going to challenge myself to find a fronted adverbial in my reading and use it in my writing. So again, I'm setting myself a challenge. You might be sitting there thinking, do you need a new challenge? Because I know some of you had put to read through my writing or to check my work makes sense. Why don't you give yourself a new challenge? And you could say, next lesson, I'm going to give myself a new challenge of creating my own fronted adverbials, because we want to try and link it to our aim, and we're trying to aim to write a narrative with fronted adverbials. If you still feel like you need to keep your target, then that's fine. Tell me how you're going to improve. Remember, we do have some options from last time. So here they are to refresh your memory. So what you could do next lesson to improve. You could give yourself more time to practice. You could talk to a teacher. Watch the video again to get more ideas, or I'm going to try and spot fronted adverbials in my reading and try and magpie them. Have a great lesson, enjoy the PM session, and I cannot wait to see how you've challenged yourself and how you've persevered.